I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Busy day of broadcasting mediocrity here on the National Racing Network. Is this afternoon a couple of great races for the Lotus 49s kicking off their season at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And then we're going to we had the Lotus 79s out from Sebring. That was a fun race as well. Tonight, it's going to be U.S. open wheel racing coming to you from Laguna Seca. Looking forward to a fun night of racing here as we get ready to kick things off. And my name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth as always by Mr. James Watson. We got the Bizzler, Patrick Byrne, in the booth with us here tonight as well. And James, we'll come to you first. This is a great place to kick off the season. It's a track everybody knows, everybody's going to be pretty familiar with, and you kind of just get a shot to really get yourself rolling again.
Yeah, Seca is one of the best tracks in all of the world, man. Like, the corkscrew may be one of the most iconic corners in all of motorsports. And it's so much fun in these cars, man. Like, this really highlights how much fun this car is on a road course. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one ends up.
Yeah, I am as well. The more that we kind of here we go. Helps if I bring the graphics up on screen so everybody can see them here. Coming to you from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. And Patrick, this place, James talked about how good it is and how familiar it is for everybody. But as we start to get ready to roll off for qualifications, this is a place that is not easy to get right in these C-Class PM18s.
It's not an easy track to get right in anything. As I was talking with some of the drivers the other day about how difficult this track is. It goes back to the days of Gran Turismo 3 and Gran Turismo 4, where there were a lot of us who got on the forum boards, set a time trial lap on those games, and back in those days, you'd take a picture with your any device with an SD card, really, upload it to your computer, upload it to the forum board, and someone else would beat your time, and you go out there and sit for hours trying to figure out every nook and cranny of this track, trying to go faster. And no matter how hard you practice this track, there's always somewhere to go faster at it.
Yeah, and they're starting to work their way around here, following along with David Porcelli. We're getting the second screen loaded up for you here as well, so you'll be able to follow along with whomever your favorite is and where they are on the racetrack. And Porcelli goes. Go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, I love how Patrick brings up Gran Turismo 3, because I used to suck so bad at this track that in all the championship series, I would skip this and make sure I won all the other races so I could get the championship.
That's actually pretty comical. Interesting here, seeing Porcelli going out and putting up an absolute heater of a lap. The other one that I am absolutely floored by here, two names, one of which I'm not all that surprised that we don't see, and that's Ted Burns. He's out working Sebring. But Carter Lundy is not in this race either, at least unless my eyes are screwing with me. Our top two contenders for the championship 1 season ago will not be in this race here this evening.
Yeah, Carter Lundy, a bit of a surprise not to see him here tonight. I hope everything's okay with him. Maybe just taking the night off. busy day with his schoolwork or something else. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to we'll check in with them and find out here. But Porcelli finishing up lap number 2. He goes even faster, 1 minute 17.153. Nicholas Daly to the top of the charts. Big lap, 103.557 miles per hour, only 37 thousandths of a second faster. But man, that's going to be good enough, and Nicholas Daly going to be carrying the banner here for Downforce Racing in this one.
And this is such a fun track when you get it right. This corner right up here, I don't know what number it is, but this is my probably second favorite corner on this track because you can just hit it and swing it all the way out to those curbs out there, and if you get it just right, it's freaking incredible. If you get it just wrong, you're either slow or in the dirt.
Turn 7 at Laguna Seca is one of my favorites. The corkscrew gets all the love, but I personally, for me, hashtag me personally, I think turn 7 is a better turn because in most cars you can take it flat. If you have the guts and you get the corner right, you're flat or nearly flat, depending on, obviously a little bit on the car. If you get that corner wrong, though, it goes wrong in such a big way.
Yeah, and from the map I'm looking at, that would actually be turn 6. Just like Road America, they count that little kink down the front straightaway as turn 1, which is stupid. But yeah, that turn is fantastic. And for me, yeah, it's the turn before the corkscrew and the turn after. Rainy is probably my favorite corner on this track. It's a very understeery corner. You don't want to get on the brakes going through there, but you have to lift just perfectly, get the car to set in, and then you want to floor it and bring it all the way out to the sand. So Rainy is probably the best circuit on this track, but turn 6, as they're calling it for some reason, is a fantastic corner.
Let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race as Everett Paddock is lining up in the, there we go, say the 3rd position. I thought I was seeing things on my graphics here for a second. Let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. On the pole in the number 5 for Downforce Racing will be Nicholas Daly, that 103.5 mile per hour lap. That is a big time heater there from Nicholas Daly. Lining up on the outside of row number 1, it will be the number 1 of David Porcelli. Lining up on row number 2 here this evening will be Everett Paddock alongside Brian Labarge in the NASA colors. Jet Propulsion Laboratory also on the side of the number 10. That is a fantastic qualifying effort for Labarge. It's really fun to see his talent development over the last couple of seasons. Row number 3 will have Nagisa Yoshikawa and Mike Collar. Team Watson Racing setups on the side of the number 4 for Yoshikawa. And I believe it's Citizens Climate Lobby is the sponsorship on the side of the number 11 for Mike Holler. Row number 4 will have Ryan Hammond lining up alongside the law firm Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Row number 4 will be Richard Holt and Rod Eskew. Benjamin Bartow, Momin Khan on row number 6. Dr. Dauber on the side of the number 19. Row 7 will be Wes Shire lining up alongside Jason Miller. Homestead Coffee on the side of the 13. PPG Paints on the side of the number 12. Great look there at the Andretti hairpin as we pick up row number 8. There's a yellow submarine, Joseph Heath. God, that scheme looks good on every freaking race car you put it on. It's beautiful. He's lining up.
It's a simple scheme, too.
It is.
Sometimes the simplest schemes are the most effective, though.
That is exactly right. Brian Karszewski
This is
going to
the
be
guy who wants to nuke everyone's eyeballs out with his paint schemes.
And just because I have no taste doesn't mean I can't appreciate someone else's taste. Like, come on now.
There's the AJ Camargo flying that Watson tricolored NRN logo on the side of his number 18.
Yes, sir.
The NRN colors on the side, at least the logo anyway, on the side of Simon Fell's machine, starting in the 18th position at row number 9. Jason Paydu going to be all alone on row number 10. It's going to be 19 cars, I believe 37? 38 total entries here. All in all, again, a good turnout here for night one of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship.
I just want to give another shout out to Simon Fell. He 3D printed me a plate for my shifter. It came in the mail today, shipping all the way across the country. And this thing is fantastic. It changes the Thrustmaster shifter into a 5-speed and seems pretty sturdy so far, and it's freaking awesome.
Well, it wasn't
shifting in the 7th accidentally.
I say it was a 5-speed to begin with, but it doesn't let you screw up. It was an H pattern already, but it doesn't let you screw up as easily. Say it that way.
Yes. Yeah, because the shifter is originally a 7-speed, but for the 5-speed cars, this thing is fantastic because it is very easy when you go to 5th to swing it in the 7th. I do have mine modified to make the shifter a little tighter, but it's still something that can happen.
Field under the control of Nicholas Daly. Green flags in the air. We're underway. Enjoy the start of this one, everybody. Ooh, almost a little bit of contact between Yoshikawa and Labarge. Battle for the race lead heating up here. Oh, they're going to be side by side to turn 6.
This isn't going to end well. Not the kink.
Porcelli decides discretion, the better part of valor. Oh, he's not going to try the pass into the corkscrew, is he? No, backs off right at the top of the hill.
Yeah, go Fulton already. Oh, that's lame.
He calls him lame.
I guess it is only lap 1.
Yeah. Let's go on board here with David Porcelli as he is following race leader Nicholas Daly down to the Andretti hairpin. The Andretti hairpin is really 2 corners. I always thought that was turn 1 and turn 2 was there. Turns out turn 1 is actually that dopey little kink to the left.
Yeah, the Andretti hairpin is just turn 2 by itself. It definitely is a double apex corner, though. You kind of hit the apex early, swing it out wide, diamond the corner, and then hit another one right on exit.
We're going to stay on board here for the lap with Porcelli because the look down into the corkscrew is absolutely mind-boggling. Screaming up the hill, top of the hill, full throttle, jam on the brakes, slide it down in. You can't see the exit of the corner. You can't see the middle of the corner when you get to the top of the hill.
The screen doesn't do it justice. That corner is 450 feet in length. That is a 5.5-story drop. If you have a VR headset at home, go and buy iRacing for 3 months. This is one of the free tracks. Run that corner in your VR headset, and if you don't get sick, I guess you win a cookie, because that is one tough corner to get through.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, there's contact a little bit further back in the field. Yoshikawa is going to be involved in this one. Multiple cars coming to a stop. Brian Labarge, Nagisa Yoshikawa, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, all stopping at turn number 1. Oh my goodness.
They all seem to be getting away just fine, though. That must have been a real slow-speed contact.
Yeah, actually, let's take a look here, and we'll get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay on this one. Little bit wide for Yoshikawa. He gets back down onto the corner. A little bit of contact with Labarge. Hazelworth piles in as well. It wasn't
like
huge
they just all
contact.
Powered themselves. They got to just back up, go forward, back up, go forward. Just release those wheels from each other and keep on trucking.
Yeah, there you got the live look at Yoshikawa. He looks good. Oh, but it looks like at least one car will be heading towards the pits as Nicholas Daly sets a new fastest lap of the race. 103 miles per hour. The speed of the lap, 1 minute 17.461. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the car that was ducking off onto the pit lane. Looks like Mike Holler may be having a little bit of an off-track excursion as well, but he is back out on the racing surface. Working lap number 4 of 19.
He's having such a good qualifying, too.
The fact that the chat is absolutely blowing up on, or at least starting to blow up on Twitch. Actually, no, hold on. I can't say anything yet because they're in the middle of an ad. As soon as they come back from the ad, we will discuss the Twitch comments.
That's ominous.
Okay, so our followers are back on Twitch. Or for our followers on Twitch, we're back here. The Zoomies checking in saying, I'm only here for James Watson.
Zoomies, that's our buddy Rhett. And, yeah, it's fair he's only there for James Watson, if you forgot that I was here. But thanks, Rhett. It's really, I appreciate it very much. Just remember who stays up with you till 3 in the morning playing Jackbox.
What? Never mind.
It's, no, it's like charades. That makes it sound not better at all.
And not at all. Trouble on the racetrack for Simon Fell. Let's take a look and see what happened to Simon here. He was running right back behind Brian Labarge. Oh, there was... Okay, let's wind this one back a little bit. Actually, we'll pick this one up from Labarge's view. Let's see. Let's hit the button here and show you. Brian Labarge just caught a little bit of curb, lost the back end, and Simon just absolutely drilled him from behind.
Well, you know, that's a convenient spot to get drilled because you're right there at the pit lane. You can stop in, get a quickie, and then hop right on out.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Another good battle here on the racetrack. Let's pick up. This is going to be Ryan Hammond and Richard Holt. We'll get that one up here in the side-by-side box for you. Holt currently running in position number 6, Hammond in the 5th position. Just back behind Holt is Benjamin Bartow as well. Your leader's still running nose to tail, but not a ton going on in that fight. Let's slide back a little bit here and pick up Jason Miller. He's got Rod Eskew and Wes Shire. It's kind of everybody sort of nose to tail. I'm a little bit surprised here, Patrick, we're not seeing as many cars on the attack early on.
No, Watkins Glen, Laguna Seca is not a track you really have to attack at.
Nozzle, classic nozzle.
It's a track you kind of find your rhythm, really just try and get close to somebody, and once you're really in attacking range, you attack. You don't have to be on the pressure the whole time. This is a very easy rhythm track to build a rhythm and just kind of get in the zone and vibe through.
So now Rod Eskew is going to have to deal with Wes Shire a little bit. Again, this is the battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th on the racetrack. Simon Fell coming around Brian Karszewski for the 16th position. Up at the front of the field, it's still about 0.6 of a second. Nicholas Daly holding on to the race lead. Yeah, you guys are winning the comments here. Stephen C. Thompson on YouTube saying, Jackbox, the party game for all. Gary
Yes,
DeMoss
sir.
checking in. Nothing like quickies in pit lane.
Yeah, well, I was going to try and say Jackbox is a party game, but that just makes it sound even worse. So I was just going to, like, close my mouth. But yeah, if you were maybe 10 years younger, you would love Jackbox. There's 9 Jackbox games out now.
I'm surprised there's not 69 of them.
Not yet.
They're working on it. Nicholas Daly again goes fastest lap, over 103.5 miles per hour. Really close to getting down into the 1 minute 16 second bracket. Trying to get the comments box fired up here so we can show your YouTube comments on screen. But here's as though YouTube may be having a login issue of some sort because it's not letting us do anything. We can still see them. We just can't show them on the screen.
Things.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best, honestly.
Back up with your race leaders. Still Nicholas Daly over David Porcelli. Yeah, that's weird. We can get Twitch logged in. We just can't get YouTube logged in.
I just want to say,
things.
for the record, for Rhett, who is watching, I am in Rhett's personal server to play Jackbox, and Watson is not. And the fact that you're watching specifically only for Watson... No, the other server. There's 2 of them now.
2 of them?
There are. So obviously he cares about me late at night and cares about you on the broadcasts. I see how it is.
I don't think that's the compliment you think it is.
Stephen C. Thompson saying, Jackbox is as good or bad as the people you play with.
Yes.
None of this is
again,
making this sound
no,
better.
You are not helping the cause here whatsoever.
We have gone full off the rails, and we're not even halfway through this race.
Yeah,
But that is entirely true. It is as good as or bad as the people you're playing with.
Please send complaint emails to bizzle@nationalracingnetwork.com.
That's not a real email, by the way.
No, somebody does get that. That email does go to somebody, it's just not to Bizzle.
My God, I can't believe we made that. That is incredible.
Yeah, why don't I have access to that email? I have an @National Racing Network domain.
You even have to ask?
I want to read the hate mail, damn it.
Maybe we'll make that an email that just forwards to you, and I'll use that for everything. To the NSA spies that are watching this, again, that's bizzle@nationalracingnetwork.com.
Anyways, back to the race.
Halfway point, Nicholas Daly still leading David Porcelli as we are working lap number 10 of 19. Drivers saw the cross flags last time by the start-finish line. Stephen C. Thompson, it's the hate mail fan account. Yes, it is. I do want to take a quick moment and apologize to anybody that's watching on YouTube. We don't control how they serve you the ads, but they eliminated the little pop-up boxes that would come on the screen. That's no longer an advertising option for us. It works really well for us because it's a live feed. It's not like YouTube content where, like pre-recorded content, where it just stops and then you pick up again after the ad. So unfortunately, you're likely to miss some things, but is what it is. You got to deal with it. Down to 9 laps to go.
You pay Google more money than you already pay Google. You don't have to deal with the ads. But then you got to pay Google. So.
That's correct. And actually, if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, it actually is better for us as a content producer as well. You make more money from YouTube Premium subscribers than you do from those that watch the ads.
That is interesting. Then,
if you would
go subscribe to YouTube Premium.
If you would like to contribute in a little bit more personal of a way, we do have the super chats and those things that are up there as well. If you want to buy us a beer for our St. Patrick's Day show tomorrow, Camel GT Happy Hour at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Yes, a 6-pack of Smithwicks costs $9.95 at the local pub. So, if you want to send that over, you can buy one for me, one for Chris, and we will drink all 6 of them before we go live.
we were discussing off air what my plans are for tomorrow night. I cannot be absolutely loaded tomorrow.
Not with that attitude.
That's a shame.
We've still got a whole nother race to go yet, and we are completely off the rails. USF2000 is coming up next, just like we've done in the past. However, this one will be live because of the time change. The U.S. Open Wheel C race is the one that runs at 9 o'clock now. And at 10 p.m., it's going to be the U.S. Open Wheel D-Class race, or USF2000. Judging by the timelines here, we're going to have a little bit of time that we'll probably have to do some filler content, which is incredibly dangerous. Because we had a plan, but that kind of blew itself up. So we'll see what we talk about for this little bit of time. Stephen C. Thompson, thank you very much. Coming on as a feature winner subscriber. We appreciate that, man. Thank you very much, sir.
Hell yeah. Just for that, you get 10 bonus Fastmasters points.
You guys are getting Fastmasters points?
No, no one is. That's a joke.
I know. I'm playing along, you twit.
This is only going to get better when we have cameras on all of us as well. Down to 7 laps to go. It's still Daly and Porcelli at the front of the field. Let's slide up and see. This battle is a good one as well between Ryan Hammond and Richard Hull. Actually, we can throw up the race leaders here in the side-by-side box. Porcelli's close, just not making the move yet. Kind of the same deal here between Ryan Hammond and Richard Hull. Same deal, even Mobin Khan and Rod Eskew are nose to tail. Just back behind them, Jason Miller and Wes Shire nose to tail. Nobody is going anywhere yet. Man, a little bit wide at the exit of the kink there, though, for Nicholas Daly. Cut that one into the box.
Yeah, plenty of battles going on around this track, and this is the great thing about this track. You can be faster than someone, and just like the Nürburgring, you're stuck behind them, and you kind of have to wait for the opportunity to present itself.
Well, and James, even things like your downforce settings can make a difference here, because you might be faster through some of the corners, but there are a couple of long straightaways that you may lose a little bit of ground in. So how you run the setup really is going to come into play.
Exactly. And if there's any track, any road course that you could struggle with dirty air, it's here, because you have a lot of high-speed corners, especially down the hill past the corkscrew. It's one of those tracks where you have to work for every overtake possible. It's so hard to pass. That's why you see a lot of nose-to-tail racing here, because you need to set it up perfectly.
Yeah, and Patrick, we've talked about that in the past. I think James nailed it really well. Sometimes at these racetracks where you have to set up the pass, that actually becomes really difficult to do because there's only so many passing opportunities. In fact, here at Laguna Seca, you could even argue there's not any pure passing opportunities. You sort of have to force the issue.
Right here at the corkscrew, prior to the end of the 1996 kart season, you could absolutely send it through the sand in the corkscrew. It was just as soon as someone tried it, they no longer allowed you to do it. But yeah, that's basically how you have to make a move here. Is you got to stick your nose underneath where it shouldn't go. You have to kind of force someone out of the way. You got to bully cars out of the way, and that's very, very tough to do in the open wheel cars.
Yeah, even like turn 5, this is a great spot to attempt it. Turn 6 is probably your best passing opportunity. In fact, that's what we're going to see here. Nicholas Daly in that bottom box. He's covering up David Porcelli. In fact, let's flip this one back here and pick up our race leaders as they come through the cake. Oh, Daly slides wide at the exit.
Whoa. Whoa,
Turn 6, perfect passing opportunity.
Yep, that's what you need. That is exactly what David needed.
Yeah, it was a mistake by Nicholas Daly, not necessarily the rundown by Porcelli.
I'm telling you, everyone talks about the corkscrew. That evil little kink has to be the worst corner on this track.
We
The
were just
corkscrew is one
discussing
thing.
how that was the best corner on this track.
It's awful. It's awful.
That's just because you're not good at it.
Right.
If you get good at it, it's a really fun corner.
Yeah, right. Look, all I'm saying is I've had many of a race ended there, and it's not even the corner itself. It's just the sausage curve right in the inside.
Let's get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. Show you that pass. Nicholas Daly sliding just a little bit wide. Porcelli able to stay on the throttle, and that really was the difference there up that corner. Now they're right back to it again 1 lap later. Now, possibly on outright pace, David Porcelli may be the faster car of the two. Porcelli now also with the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 16.983. Something else I'm looking forward to watching is how these guys adjust. Ordinarily, we've gone from the USF to the Indy Pro. Now you're going the other way around. A car with less downforce, less horsepower, and a fixed setup. That's really going to be interesting to see how some of these guys are able to adapt to that.
Yeah, basically you're going from the full beans car to where you have to slow down early and kind of get on the power later. The hardest thing to do is get into that other car, and now you're able to push it so much deeper because you're going so much slower, and that's so hard to do because you're going to be hitting the same exact marks, and really you're going to be slower than everyone else, but at least you'll be more consistent and not wrecking.
Let's pick you up a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. A little bit of an issue for Mobin Khan. This one is interesting. Following behind Rod Eskew. Eskew a lot harder on the brakes, and Khan just kind of goes around. One of those no harm, no foul things. But now what we're ending up with here, oh, well, let's see. Trouble for Mike Holler on the racetrack. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, no, that is not a spot that you want to have that issue either. Take a look at the replay. See what happened here. Holler was running in the 4th position. Down through the corkscrew, caught the slightest bit of sand and gravel on the inside.
Oh, that's so depressing.
I will say, consider yourself lucky you didn't hit anything, because that is an ugly spot to have an issue. Back to the battle for the 4th position. Is that a car on the inside of that kitty litter? Way on the inside?
I couldn't tell.
It may have been. It might just be decoration here, though.
Could be. Oh, yeah, we've got, let's see. Oh, that's what I was seeing. Trouble for Jason Miller. Get you the replay on this one. Miller having to look up the inside of Mobin Khan, slides it off the racetrack.
Yeah,
Not only gives up the spot to West Shire, but then he loops it around again.
Yeah, I kind of say that might have been a little poorly timed on Miller's part. It's just like Khan was already in his turning point. It was kind of not really going to end any other way.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go in the opener for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Does Nicholas Daly have anything for David Porcelli, already making their way up the hill and through the kink? Man, Porcelli absolutely greased that corner. That car is so quick. through this section of the racetrack. Daly thought about the dive. Oh, and he's going to slide and spin. Is he going to lose second to Everett Paddock?
I don't know. I think what a recovery. What a recovery from Daly.
There's the look. There's that little spin. Twin checkers in the air. Everett Paddock claims the win at Laguna Seca. Down over the line, Nicholas Daly able to hold off Everett Paddock for third. Ryan Hammond, Richard Holt, Mike Holler back through the sixth position. There's Rod Eskew all by his lonesome off the final corner. Mobin Khan, West Shire, drag race to the line. Shire pulls out. Not quite close enough. They will come home 8th and 9th. AJ Camargo and Nagisa Yoshikawa in the 10th and 11th positions. Joe Heath, Jason Miller coming across the line to conclude their battle for the 12th position. Here is Jason Paydu. He will finish 14th this evening, and Simon Fell will be the last car to cross the finish line. But there is your race winner, David Porcelli.
Awesome drive. Awesome comeback, honestly. Last season was not what we've been accustomed to seeing from David. He had a lot of bad breaks, a lot of real bad luck. So him coming out race one and just taking the dub, that's not exactly what you want to see if you're the rest of the field. Champ is back.
Yeah, Porcelli burning them down here on the front straightaway. And let's take a look at our race results here this evening. Porcelli by almost 4 seconds over Nicholas Daly. It was a tight half second between Daly and Everett Paddock past the line. We ran you through everybody as they came across the line, but we'll show you the official race results anyway here. Back through 19th place, Benjamin Bartow, finishing 10 laps behind the race leaders. 15 cars finishing on the lead lap. This one was a really good show. I really enjoyed myself calling this race tonight. Kind of what we expected to see her early on this season, James, as you start to think a little bit about how this season could shake out. Obviously, no Ted Burns, no Carter Lundy, but the rest of the heavy iron was here, and they put on a show tonight.
Yeah, it's not always the best for pure, like, on-track battling, but that's what makes this track great, and that's what makes the races it puts on great, because, you know, you're just absolutely on the edge. I kind of consider it like a Darlington of road courses, so it's just a great drive by everyone.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting way of looking at it here. Maybe we'll discuss that one with our race winner, David Porcelli, and as we get ready for the victory lane interviews here, I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic drive here tonight. Talk us through the race and kind of what you were thinking here. Obviously, Nicholas was really good out in front, but that's not quite the way that everything played out here, though.
Yeah, thanks very much. My original intention was to get around him on the first couple of laps. I know that I have some strength relative to the rest of the field on the cold tires and the heavy car. And sure enough, he did make a mistake. I just wasn't able to capitalize on it. I got alongside him, and then he was able to hold the outside lane going through, I think that's turn 5. So then it was just a matter of keeping the pressure on him for 19 laps, hoping that I would force him into an error, and sure enough, it worked.
Yeah, that's one of those deals that we talked about during the show a little bit, is that this place doesn't have a ton of true kind of long straightaway, hard braking, there's your passing opportunity. You kind of have to manufacture it, whether that's by applying pressure, forcing the door open, and that really was the key to picking up the win tonight, was just keeping that pressure on the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. That front straight just is not long enough in order to make something happen. So usually it's got to happen somewhere around the corkscrew headed up or down the hill.
Well, you pick up 15 points in the broadcast championship, and obviously it's a pretty big one here in the overall season championship as well. The SOF over 3,500. So congratulations, a great way to kick off the season. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Shout out to Racecraft One Indianapolis. Thanks to Team Watson Racing and Satellite Racing for all your support. Hi to the family, and thanks to National Racing Network for putting on an awesome broadcast every week. So looking forward to the next 3 months with you guys. See you next time.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here and bringing a guy that I am pretty much gutted for. Nicholas Daly had a great run here tonight, ultimately coming up in the second position. Talk us through that run, because David he even told us in the interview, he was trying to apply pressure the entire race and force you into mistake. Ultimately, it wasn't even that big of a mistake. I mean, dipping a wheel off is usually not enough to kind of ruin the race for you, but here it kind of at least cost you the win.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it takes here. So one little mistake when you have someone like David following you, 0.3 of a second behind you the whole race. So yeah, I gave it my best shot there.
Yeah, and for 99.9% of this thing, it was a really solid run. Obviously, not having Ted in the field, you were going to be the guy flying the flag for Downforce Racing. Whatever the setup work you guys did, it was good, because it was, you were just as quick as David, and we're seeing a lot of outright pace from you. It's really been fun to watch that development over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've been trying to give it my all to try and get a broadcast win, but every race I feel like I'm getting a little bit closer, so it feels good.
Yeah, one of those that when the first one comes, look out, because the rest of them are going to be coming in bunches. And tell you what, good points tonight to start the season off. That's always a big thing. I sound a little bit like Rick Allen talking about championship implications on night one, but it does make a difference here, especially when you can take a 3,500 SOF field. That's got to be a big confidence boost as we head into the rest of this season.
Yeah, I'm happy to run this season. Yeah, I think we'll have a good run. This is a great start to it, at least. So yeah.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on that one. And before we let you go, do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, shout out to Downforce Racing. Shout out to Collegiate iRacing League. Shout out to my buddy Mark, who's watching. And thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And thank you to all the viewers for watching.
All right, man. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for at least a few minutes anyway. And now let's bring in Everett Paddock, a guy that it seems like for a couple of years we were talking to him on the regular, chasing down Greg Seitz. Now we're talking to him again on the regular here, this time coming up third behind David Porcelli and Nicholas Daly. Pretty solid run for you here, Everett. Car seemed pretty good. Ultimately, maybe just a tick off on raw pace, but good run for you in the number 2 tonight.
Yep. I was didn't quite have the pace of those guys. They were putting on a show, and I couldn't even stay up there and watch them.
Is that something that just comes from development? I mean, you've been around this car for a very, very long time. Is that I know you guys have partnered up a little bit with Downforce Racing to do some work there. Is that something that it's set up? Is it just, literally lack of seat time comparatively? I mean, we do have like real world lives that we have to lead here too.
I think it's just I probably was a little bit ahead of people before, and my lack of talent's now starting to show.
I am not believing that for 1 second. But congratulations, a good podium to start the season. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates over TNT and the DFR guys. Congrats to David and Nick. Man, I was rooting for Nick. I was hoping he was going to be able to hold off David, but that looked like that was going to be awfully tough. That was a good run. But all right, thanks for the broadcast, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, bud. You too. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for a minute. And there we go. I can work Discord. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was a really good show here tonight. We got out of the guys from the Indy Pro 2000 Championship for US Open Wheel C, coming to you from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Now, we've got about 15 minutes to kill here. The original plan, let's talk through this with the viewers in the comments, because we want this to be kind of your segment here in between these two races as we get ready to roll. But put some thought into what would you guys like to see here. We had talked about possibly doing an AI-generated Toyota Celebrity Pro race. We have talked about having real-world people drive cars, basically create a league and put different names on them. That is something that we could possibly do. We could do highlights of Dallara Dash, Carb Cup, you know, some of that kind of stuff. Even a weekly highlight reel that we start off with the Friday show the week before from the Camel GT series and kind of put together a best of for the week. Let us know your thoughts. What would you like to see here on the National Racing Network? We'll give you a minute to think about it. We're going to spin up a couple of commercials and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the US Open Wheel doubleheader right here on NRN.
So sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa, los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. Interesting comment. I absolutely love this, by the way, from Stephen C. Thompson. He says he wants to see Fastmasters highlights. James, I know Bizzle is not in the room at the moment, but he says, got to give Bizzle another job since he doesn't do points anyway.
Right? Yeah. Like, actually make something out of Fastmasters instead of just the abject disaster it always is.
Yeah, I like that idea of Fastmasters is a series that runs Monday nights in the Dallara IR01, and it runs Tuesday nights in either the BMW GT4 car, the legacy car,
the Z4,
or the Legacy Star Mazda. and we run like a Hanford drafting style package that is, it's just silliness and fun. It runs 6-minute
ridiculous.
heats. Yeah. You see, we were throwing you under the bus while you weren't here. Stephen C. Thompson says he wants to see Fastmasters highlights, and we got to give you another job since you don't do points anyway.
No, that's the whole fun. I just tell everyone there's points, so everyone takes it somewhat seriously, and then I never do points, because if you do points, then people take it too seriously.
That is correct. With 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in registration, by the way, 42 registered for U.S. Open Wheel D. Once again, that is going to be an absolute monster of a series. Now, granted, it's a D-class car. So if you're racing in this time slot on a Thursday night, you could be that guy who's just like, yeah, hey, what the heck, I'll jump into, this car because I'm looking to blow off steam. And then you find out that your 5,000 I rating has you like top split that's going to be over 4,000 I rating. And all of a sudden you have to take it seriously.
Yeah, now USF has gone from, I don't want to say the joke of iRacing, but just a lot of these D-Class series is, I don't want to say it's a joke, but it's a thing that a lot of people for a long time just hopped into, blowing off some steam, having a lot of fun. I remember probably as far back as 3-4 years ago, I would jump in the Legends races. The Legends cars were D-Class series, and if I just wanted an easy win, I would hop in those and go and run some laps and show the rookies how it was done. But that's not how it is anymore. The lower class races are some of the most competitive on the service.
Yeah, and James, I think some of that is because, and you see the posts, they're on the forums, they're on all the socials and Reddit and everything else. How do I get out of rookies? How do I get out of D-Class? It's like, wait a minute, man. You could do an entire iRacing career based around D-Class and C-Class cars and earn yourself a ridiculous I rating and still work your way up to B-Class, A-Class. But it's not something to look at and be like, I need to get out of this.
No, there is, sorry, I know you said James. I don't want to cut James off here. But there is definitely that bell curve meme where at the beginning of the bell curve is the rookies are the dumbest people on the service, all your rookie class and D class guys. Then the middle is at the top of the bell curve is all of the A class guys are, the best in the service and they're the fastest. And then at the end of the bell curve is the best racing is in the D and C class series. And that's exactly what I pictured. The slower the car is, the less horsepower it has, the less downforce it is, the closer the racing is, and the more fun it is as a driver, just because that's where all the battles are.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you. I think we may have lost James here, but
No, I'm still here.
Oh.
I was just waiting before
Jump in.
someone really talked over where I was supposed to talk. Yeah, like I feel like some people kind of look down on certain series because it's just a D class. It's just rookie. But like each car takes its own specific skill set, and there's gonna be guys that are talented in one car, and just because it may be a lower class series doesn't necessarily mean that those guys aren't talented or they're just farming. Like it takes a lot of talent to be able to get to a place to farm a whole lot of I rating in a specific car.
That's why a lot of the lower class stuff, I personally, I know one driver who, Chris, when we were at PRI a couple years ago, I showed you his car. He races a Honda Fit week in, week out. And the reason he races that Honda Fit is just to hone his skills. It's a momentum car. It makes 110 horsepower. And it's very easy to drive, but it's very hard to drive fast because you really have to keep your momentum up. You have to change the whole way you drive. And when he goes and races the higher class stuff, he's a GT3 driver a couple times a year with some of the higher level teams in IMSA. He hops in that stuff and he is wicked fast just because he spends all of his time honing his skills on How do I keep the momentum up? How do I use this car for 110% of what it can provide? And when he hops in the faster stuff, especially the dentist classes, he's way faster than everyone because all of the dentists, they hop in that dentist car, the GT3 stuff, and it's very easy to drive. It's just plant your foot down, traction control takes care of the rest, plant your brakes down, turn the wheel, and he knows how to maximize the potential of the car instead of just pressing pedals and turning the wheel.
It's almost a, excuse me, that's almost where iRacing, the simulation side of it, is the whole argument of, is it a sim or is it a game? The simulation part is in, if you want to be really, really good, you have to spend a lot of time in these development cars. I get it. You want to get out of rookies because they're just a dumpster fire everywhere you go and it's completely random. But spend a lot of time in the D-Class cars. Even if you get a C license, run something, whether it's US Open Wheel D and C, the F4, F3 series on the Formula side, the GT4/GT3 progression, or prototypes and up into the P2s eventually. Spend time in these lower classes, develop the skills, because it is a big jump from one car to the next. We see the guys up front here in the C class are going to run big numbers in the D class car as well, but that's not the same as, you're not going to get to their level right away unless you're some just psychotic talent like we've seen Carter Lundy become. Most guys, it takes a long time to develop that. We talked about Brian Labarge developing his skills and seeing him move to the front. Same deal with Ben Carswell. He wasn't even in the top split race tonight. Probably did really well in that second split, I'm going to guess. But the more you see the driver development happen, that's when you start to see them come to the front, and then you see those bigger iRating numbers.
Yeah, and time trialing isn't everything. Like, just raw lap time is not at all what wins races. I'm a fantastic time trialer. James Watson knows this. We get an AMS2 and we battle back and forth time trial times, and I can set world records at tracks on that simulation.
Yep.
But
yeah,
James Watson,
we'll just be like, screw it, I'm gonna be faster than you in this car. Like, okay.
Yeah, James is a much better racer than I am. Just because I can lay down a faster qualifying lap does not mean I can throw that lap down consistently. Usually I go out there for the time trials, run just the out lap, warm everything up, run one absolute heater, and I will spend 2 hours just running that one absolute lap, reset the car, go back, do another out lap, and just keep going for that. And you can get one killer lap time doing that, but that does not make you a good racer. You have to be able to go out there and set that world record lap after lap after lap consistently without messing up, and that's what makes you a good racer.
Yeah, anyone can do it one time. It takes true skill to be able to do it consistently. Consistency is the key to anything.
To world record. We're not diminishing me here, but
all right. On that note,
I never said I was guilty conscious.
We are going to take another quick commercial break. The session is up for the D-Class race. Strength of field 34-14. It's going to be another monster. Don't go anywhere. My God, Carter Lundy made this race too. 6,600 his iRating is up to. Holy Christ. The kid is a monster. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the US Open Wheel doubleheader right here on the National Racing Network.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. You are watching the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader here on NRN. 5 seconds left in the practice session, and, well, nobody has gotten a lap in yet. The Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as qualifying gets ready to roll. Let's tell you a little bit about this place. 2.24 miles. I guess Dummy forgot to fill in the rest of the data today. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, one of the most famous venues on the planet, quite frankly. We just saw it out of the U.S. Open Wheel C-Class cars. Now we're going to get the D-Class cars. These manufactured by Tatus, the carbon fiber composite. Only difference between this car and the Indy Pro basically is 100 horsepower, same 1,100 pound weight, 0.159 horsepower per pound, 260 if you're going to go watts per kilogram. As qualifications are out on the racetrack very quickly, we'll show you the weather. Partly cloudy skies, 78-degree ambient, 80-degree track temperature, winds are calm. Everything's nice for these D-Class cars.
It's even the same exact engine between the two cars. The only visible difference you could see is the wings are a little bit different, and the USF cars have an airbox off the size of the engine housing. I'm not sure what they changed between the two engines. I would imagine the intake runners because of that airbox, and I would imagine there's a restrictor inside that airbox you see on these cars to change the horsepower rating. But other than that, it's the exact same engine. So if you want to move up from USF2000 to the Indy Pro 2000 series, it's very easy. You change that engine cowling, you change the airbox, I assume the intake manifold, and put new wings on it and go and race in Indy Pro 2000. Makes it very affordable to move up.
Yeah, Bizzle, we got to get you the telestrator working, because you could circle that right on the screen there, that big old airbox hanging off the side of the number 1 of Carter Lundy as he runs his way down through the corkscrew on the outlap. Everybody is on the racetrack right now. Just getting the second session fired up here so we can show you the side-by-sides. Carter Lundy, the defending broadcast champion. In fact, he won all 3 of the broadcast championships.
Yeah, Carter Lundy, unbelievable natural talent. We were in a race with him on Tuesday night in the Star Mazdas, just a fun Fast Masters race. And he didn't understand how to downshift the car because he had no idea what a blip was. To blip the throttle to downshift the car like you would in a manual transmission vehicle. He is 16 or 17 years old, all natural talent out of him, has no idea about the fundamentals of how a race car works. It's just raw talent, and frankly, I can't believe it.
Yeah, he's really good. David Porcelli, he's going to wear the number 2 here tonight. Gerardo Bobbio Ramos in the Lotus. Yes, we're back to the vintage F1 paint schemes on D-Class cars. I love it. And he goes quick time, 1 minute 22.241 seconds.
Anything Camel schemed, I love. And Camel, I'm going to say, just verbally begins with a K. We are not promoting anything of that regard. But just all of those schemes, they were fantastic. Whether it be the Jimmy Spencer purple and yellow or just the plain yellow you see here. Just some of my favorite schemes of all time. It looks so good.
Yeah, these cars always looked good out on the racetrack. Let's pick up, we'll get you the side-by-side box here, and we'll get David Porcelli down in that bottom box. He is just coming around to complete lap number 1. Porcelli goes third quick, 1 minute 22.517. Good quick lap there for Porcelli. Still going to be Ramos at the top of the board. What can he do on lap number 2? He does not improve, but he was only off by about a couple hundredths of a second here. Here's Carter Lundy working his second lap. Can Lundy get himself up to the pole? He's trending the right direction, but it may not be enough. He's showing about a 10th up on his last lap speed. Oh, it's going to be close. Over the start-finish line, Carter Lundy goes. Quick time, 1 minute 21.211, 97.138 miles per hour. Pick up Ryan Hammond. He's finishing up his run. Here's Nagisa Yoshikawa getting out onto the race course. David Porcelli loses lap number 2. Let's see who else is still out on the race course. Oh, here we go. A Brian Herta paint scheme on the car of Stephen Phillips as Yoshikawa comes around to complete his run.
Paint scheme.
Yes, it is. I like it. AJ Camargo coming around to complete his qualification run. See if anybody's going to have something for Carter Lundy here. As Phillips has now completed his run. I believe the last car we could see take time will be David Porcelli, and he is still sitting on pit lane here with 1 minute 45 left to go. So looks like that will be the end of the qualification run for everybody here as we're down to 90 seconds to go. Man, tell you what, Patrick, we saw that tiny off-course excursion that we just saw AJ Camargo have. That is exactly what took Nicholas Daly out of the running for the race win in this last run.
Yeah, it's not hard to misstep here. It's again, this track is very easy to turn laps around, but trying to extract every last ounce of speed out of it is so difficult. It's deceptively easy here because you really have to use every ounce of runoff, but it's very easy to push it just too wide and get yourself in that sand, and the sand really pulls you out towards more sand, and it's not very fast out there.
Yeah, going on board here with AJ Camargo. Hearing that slight breathe of the throttle at, I guess that's turn 4. This would be then turn 5? No. This is 6. This next corner is 7 because the corkscrew was 8.
This is turn 6.
So
turn
where does,
7,
I guess turn 7 is right here at the top of the hill.
Turn 7 is in fact
there.
The top of the hill. That little tiny thing. This is turn 8, and then that right-hander is turn 8A. Rainey is turn 9, then of course the right-hander is turn 10, and the final turn is turn 11. Again, whoever numbered this track must have numbered Road America, and whoever it was that numbered it should go back to school.
Yes, I can agree with that one. Let's take a look here at the starting grid for tonight's race. 15 cars will be on the starting grid here this evening.
I do want to mention, looking at the track map, there is a slight kink in between turn 4 and turn 5. But that is not numbered. And the same thing in between turn 6 and turn 7 is a slight kink. Actually, the entire Ray Hall straight isn't straight. But those aren't numbered either.
The isn't straight.
Exactly. So whoever numbered this corner must have been paid by the numbered corners that are numbered that aren't really corners, because there are also not really corners that aren't numbered. And if you are confused, that's the point, so am I.
I think so. I think there are times that course designers and especially the people that number these racetracks just screw with us.
Yeah. Shakes fist at Road America.
Road America even has corners that are named that aren't corners. You hear these guys revving the engines on the grid. That's to burn off some fuel. These races are fixed setup. There is no changes that you can make to the setups on these race cars as the field gets ready to pull away here. Take a look at your starting grid here tonight. Carter Lundy on the pole, lap time of 97.138 miles per hour, 1 minute 22.211. Lining up alongside Gerardo Bobbio Ramos in that fantastic Lotus livery that we discussed. David Porcelli lining up alongside Nicholas Daly. Your two combatants from the C-Class race are going to do it again here in D-Class. Row 3 will have Rod Eskew and Ryan Hammond. Row number 4, Nagisa Yoshikawa and Stephen Phillips. Again, love the Brian Herta livery on that race car. That's an old livery. Row number 5 will have Brian Labarge and Mike Holler. Franco Carnero and Javier Garo on row number 6. Couple of new names to our NRN broadcast airways. Row number 7 will have Wes Shire and Joseph Heath. Wes making 2 top split races here tonight. I think the first time we've seen him do that since we went to the doubleheader format. Row number 8 will have Nieje Camargo and Mike Prudhomme. And all alone on row number 9 will be Kleber Stefani. So again, some names that we're not used to seeing here. Go ahead, James.
Well, I was just pointing out that it's nice to see Michael Prudhomme, and I've raced him a lot in non-SOF splits, so it's cool to see him race up in the top.
Green flag in the air. We are underway. Get you the high look overhead. Here's Porcelli looking up the inside of Ramos to 1. Oh, Ramos slides it off the racetrack. He's going to lose the position to Daly as well. Side by side, a little bit further back. Man, there's a couple of battles that are side by side here. Top 4 starting to break away. So first lap will go in the books, and it will belong to Carter Lundy. David Porcelli holding on to second. Daly, Ramos, Eskew, your top 5.
Carter Lundy just trying to build a gap. He hasn't built it as far as I've seen him build it in the past, but I'd still say that's 2.5, 3 car lengths. Gets into the grass a little bit. I guess you can't call it grass. Gets into the sand a little bit, but doesn't seem to slow him down much. That time it definitely did, though. David Porcelli now right on the gearbox of Carter Lundy.
Yeah, James, this is something we saw in the last race. You just can't make a mistake. And it's tough because you're talking about tiny, tiny mistakes that are costing you maybe a 10th, but that's enough to cost you a position and possibly a race win.
Yeah, because you see there's a lot of trains on this track, especially here with this car being a little more underpowered. So as we saw, one tiny little mistake cost Nicholas the win earlier tonight. So you need to kind of be on your game, even more so because, again, like Patrick said, it is so easy to screw up one little wheel touch, and not only are you losing a position, you're probably airmailing it off into the sand and likely a wall with it.
Let's take a look here and go on board with Nicholas Daly as Gerardo Bobbio Ramos goes fastest lap of the race. Daly currently running in the 4th position, trying to chase down your leaders. And you look at it from the wider shot here, James, and you go, okay, they're all nose to tail. It's not that far. When you look at it from the driver's seat here that Nicholas Daly's in, you're going, man, I got a long way to go here.
Yeah, we've already had this close to racing. So just imagine what happens in a few laps when you're really starting to try to mix it up for position.
That's a great point. And Patrick, that's something that we didn't talk about yet on this one is the C-Class race was 19 laps. This one is only 10. This race is going to be over in about 15 minutes total run time. Things get a little bit crazy here because you have to make your way forward quickly. There is no time to ride it out.
Yeah, it's just like the sprint stage of an endurance race. You're in the last 10 laps, and this is where it all comes down to. Except this race, we took the green flag with only 10 laps to go, so you really start the race in the pressure seat to get a move done and really get yourself up in position to win this thing.
Lundy goes fastest lap, almost 97 miles per hour. Oh, big contact! Ramos and Porcelli off the racetrack.
Wow. David's not going to be happy after that.
Yeah, you know what? And let's take a look here and back things up. We'll show you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay on this one. I think this is just a very rare outright mistake from David Porcelli. Covers the inside, slides the car wide, it grips up, and there's the contact with Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos also went wide, and unfortunately, if either of them had gone wide by themselves, there would have been no contact. But unfortunately, they both went wide the same lap and shot towards the same piece of real estate.
The rare double wide.
Ramos has gotten back around Rod Eskew, so he's going to have a shot at least trying to get caught back up to Carter Lundy. I don't know that you're going to make that happen in 7 laps, especially when you try to make the pass. The one that's going to be interesting to watch, though, here, we'll pick him up on the side-by-side, is David Porcelli. He is red mist driving behind the wheel of that number 2 right now. Incredibly frustrating to see those tiny little mistakes. And that was a big mistake.
Yeah, super uncharacteristic. It's hard to even fathom you saw it.
A little bit further back in the pack, Ryan Hammond battling with Mike Holler. He's going to make that pass out of the Andretti hairpin. It's going to bring Stephen Phillips into the battle as well.
I want to go back to the mistake though real quick. The thing that makes great race car drivers great and terrible ones terrible is not their outright pace. It's how they can recover from a mistake. If they can bring themselves back and go, okay, I screwed up turn 1 of that lap, whatever. Forget it, throw it out of their head, and just go back and not even damage control, but just dig as if this is the race now and go at it as normal instead of seeing red, that is a great race car driver. If you make one silly little mistake, and it happens, but if you stay in that red zone and you're going crazy and it turns into 6, 7, 8 more mistakes, then you got some work to do.
Yeah, that gets ugly in a big-time hurry here. I wonder if there's not a little bit of damage on David Porcelli's car here. As Carter Lundy sets a new fastest lap of the race at 1:22.4. I think there's some damage on that left front corner. Looks like the left front of the wing is banged up a little bit here because Porcelli is not only losing ground to Rod Eskew, but Nagisa Yoshikawa is catching right up to him.
Yeah, at this point, I think the goal for him is just try and finish as best as he can. Obviously, not make another mistake, just run your own race. If Nagisa Yoshikawa is that much faster than him, then there's no reason to keep fighting him and try and keep him behind him. Just let him go and run your own race, because if you're focused on just keeping him behind you, you're going to end up wrecking yourself, and you're going to lose way more positions in that one spot you're going to lose to Nagisa.
Oh, we've got some argy-bargy deep in the field. Take a look here on the Hot Shoe Racewear Instant Replay. Mike Holler battling with Stephen Phillips. Holler slides wide, kind of chops the nose off of Phillips. Midpoint of the corner, Punterino. Holler goes around. That's not something we're used to seeing in these races here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Holler back to the 13th position, running up back behind Nieje Camargo. Let's take a look here and pick up Gerardo Babio Ramos. He has Rod Eskew only about 3/10 behind, and then it's going to be Porcelli, Yoshikawa, and Hammond following tightly in line. Nicholas Daly has the gap to about 1 second, but he doesn't ever really get any closer than that, as both Lundy and Daly are starting to set their delta, their pace tracker will briefly turn purple, and then they lose it again coming out of the corkscrew, almost like they're trying to put down just a little bit too much throttle. Oh no, Mike Collar off the racetrack again.
Yeah, and that's very easy to do through the corkscrew, because each time you go through it, you feel like you could push so much more out of it, but that's really a corner that you have to take. The fastest way through it does not feel like the fastest way through it. James, I'm sure you can agree with that statement, because the fastest way through the corkscrew is really backing the corner up and kind of taking it through the middle. You don't want to hit either apex.
Yeah, like you're going to make most of your speed, Pete. Like the quicker you could just slam on the throttle and not get to where you're hitting the rumble strip. You know, unlike the Zanardi Pass, you don't have that extra little bit of asphalt on the inside, so you really got to be careful, because if you get on it too quickly, you could just as easily spin out and loop it. It's so easy to loop it right in the very descent of the corkscrew.
A little bit of a bobble for Carter Lundy at the Andretti hairpin. Has caught Nicholas Daly up to within a half second. And that happens on the lap after Daly sets a new fastest lap of the race. Maybe it's time to cue that Jaws theme a little bit here, because Daly's going to have a shot here at Lundy as we're going to be down to 2 to go.
It's interesting to see if Daly can kind of steal it from Carter at the end. Like, you know, he wants to get redemption for just a little bit ago.
I'll tell you what, if Lundy makes that same mistake at the Andretti hairpin, he does it again. Runs a little bit wide, kind of diamonds the corner off more than we're used to seeing. Man, great battle there on the second screen as well between Ramos and Eskew. And we're going to see, oh, maybe not, Nagisa Yoshikawa trying to get past David Porcelli. That line that we saw Carter Lundy run into the Andretti hairpin is a familiar trope for him. He likes to drive the car as deep as he possibly can, which on the iRacing platform isn't necessarily the fastest way to get around a lot of places. A lot of times you want to back the corner up and be really fast off.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you have to take Rainey, except Rainey, it's all about the entry, and you kind of want to enter it as quickly as possible. You want to fly into it, just let off the gas, let the car rotate through it, and just have it push understeer to the apron on the outside. And for those of you at home, that would be turn 9. It is known as Rainey Corner for the great motorcycle rider who has won an unbelievable amount of races here.
Yeah, Wayne Rainey was a menace. I guess it was World Superbike before it was known as World Superbike, or MotoGP, I should say, before it was MotoGP. But white flag is out, 1 lap to go. Can Lundy hold off Nicholas Daly? Can Porcelli hold off Yoshikawa and Hammond? We're going to keep our eye on both battles. Lundy was able to open the gap back up to about 6/10. Man, Yoshikawa thought about that move into the kink there. Daly's going to be right there exiting the corkscrew. And he's a little bit faster on corner exit, I think. If he's going to do it, it's going to have to be into that final 90-degree corner. Lundy chops the inside, takes away the line. Twin checkers go in the air, and Carter Lundy gets the win at Laguna Seca. Great run to second for Nicholas Daly. Ramos leads Eskew across the line. He'll claim the final spot on the podium. And Yoshikawa barely got past Porcelli at the finish line for the 5th position. Oh my goodness, what a race. What a pair of races we got here tonight. The U.S. Open Wheel C-Class race, a little bit more single file than I thought we might have seen. But both of those races were absolutely fantastic. As Lundy makes his way around the racetrack, let's take a look at your official results. Lundy over Daly, Ramos, Eskew, and Yoshikawa for the top 5. Porcelli, Hammond, Phillips, Labarge, and Pernome back through the 10th position. 11-17 tonight going to be Wes Shire and the AJ Camargo, Franco Carnero, Javier Garro, Mike Holler, Kleber Stefanini, and Joseph Heath. All 17 cars finishing on the lead lap. I don't remember us having that happen in a D-Class race last season.
Right?
Usually somebody has an issue that puts them out, somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, we're talking about Carter Lundy here.
Yeah, I kind of chuckle because we talked about him a little bit in the pre-race. The fact that we're teaching him how to blip shift and how to make some of these adjustments and all. Where is he
he's
going?
Backwards.
Oh!
Oh my God. Who did he hit?
That's the 10 of Franco Carnero.
I hope he didn't get disqualified for that.
Well, everybody had taken the checkered flag. So at that point, it kind of everything goes away. There are no, the 4Xs don't count and that kind of stuff. But he's been having too much fun in the Fastmasters and the TNT special events, I think.
I think we have corrupted him.
Yeah. Let's take a look and see. Well, we don't
I
have.
sure hope so. He couldn't figure out what a pit attenuator was.
Yeah. Oh, I am staying away from that one. Let's get ready
Yes, we
for it. Yes, let's get ready for our Victory Lane interviews here. And I think first we are going to talk with Nicholas Daly. Let's see. Just gotta get all the cameras and everything else squared away here. There we go. All right, let's bring them up into the booth here. Our runner-up this evening. 2 second-place finishes. All in all, not a bad night for Nicholas Daly. Man, Carter, you were outright on pace with him all night long. He made the bobble with, I guess, 2 to go into the Andretti hairpin. That allowed you to close the gap right up. I thought you were going to try something crazy here late in that race.
Yeah, I was kind of close coming up there on that final corner, and I tried to go back outside and then cut it inside because it looked like he might have like overshot that corner just a little bit, but then I didn't have any traction. I think, oh yeah, that lap, and also I think it was the lap before Carter got a little bit loose, and then so did I. So I just got no advantage there. But yeah, I mean, kind of feels like a little bit of a gifted P2 with the David crashing out there, I don't know, earlier in the race, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you know what? The gifted second places are as good as the gifted wins if you're going to look at it from that perspective. Man, I'll tell you what, still on outright pace, you're right there, especially in these D-class cars. Is that something you feel like the car maybe suits you a little better? It being a fixed setup where you just kind of can't tweak much? Whatever it is, you really have these cars down, and I think you're going to be contending for a championship.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure. This car, I mean, to be honest, I don't think my pace was very good in this race. There was only one lap where I felt like I really nailed it, and it was like half a second quicker than all my other laps. So it's just missing a little bit of consistency. But yeah, this track, Laguna Seca, is pretty tough to stay consistent. But I feel like I could have had a little bit better pace. But oh well.
Well, yeah, you hold the fastest lap of the race at a 1 minute 22.265, which 0.2 faster than everybody else in the field. Wicked lap.
That was my only good lap of the whole race. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, you made it count. Congratulations on the second place finish here. And before we let you go, make sure you do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yes, of course. Thank you to Downforce Racing. Thank you to Mark who's watching. Thank you to Collegiate iRacing League. Thanks for putting on a great broadcast, and thanks for everyone watching.
All right, brother. Well, thank you much. Nice to get to talk to you twice here this evening. We appreciate that. And let's bring up our race winner tonight here, Mr. Carter Lundy. And, man, I'll tell you what, first I got to ask you, where were you for the C-Class race? We missed you in that one. But in all seriousness, congratulations. That was a very, very dominant performance here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. So for the C-Class race, I was pretty exhausted today. I had a busy morning, and I went skating actually for the first time in a while. So I was pretty exhausted, and I just didn't bring myself up to my room until the second race. And yeah, good to be back. Good to pick up a win in the first round in at least one of the races.
Yeah, this was interesting because you started the race with Porcelli all over the rear attenuator of that number 1 machine. He has his issue with Ramos. Then you've got Nicholas Daly, who's really quick. This thing wasn't easy. You really did have to push this car all 10 laps.
Yeah. After David and Gerardo, I'm not sure who that was actually. I think that's how you pronounce it. But after they had the collision, the race wasn't over. Nicholas kept me from just running away with it and being able to drive a bit more safely. So I was having to push because of him, and with like maybe 3 or 4 laps to go, I knocked my wheels to one side. I got them out of alignment a little bit from one of the curbs, and then with a couple of laps to go, I knocked them back the other way. So I was just trying to nurse it home at the end there.
The USF2000 falls in a well, its eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule, its eyes go straight again. Um, Oh my goodness. Off to a good start here. Picking up the win in this race. Obviously going to be in a little bit of a points hole in terms of the broadcast championship, but still a lot of racing to go. And with basically, with Ted, we're not running every week. David is going to be your main contender. I would think David and Nicholas Daly, possibly Everett Paddock. It doesn't look like Everett ran in this race tonight either, though. It really kind of like it's going to be a 3 or 4 man shootout for this broadcast championship as well.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that one goes. Obviously, it was nice last season to get all 3. Um, maybe it'll be the same this season, maybe not. I think I'm gonna run a little bit less than 150 races in the USF, tone it down a little bit. Maybe run only a couple before the broadcast in the week, and maybe try and do focus on the in-game championship a little bit there, not just run a billion races and not care about that much. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting with Ted not showing up every week. He'll be back. I think he'll be back after week 3 though for most of the races. So we'll get some good races in with him. And next week we head to Oval Week. So I mean, some people might say he's not missing out. Others might have strongly disagreeing with that. I'm pretty neutral. I don't mind Oval Week, but I feel like with the track selection that iRacing did, like we just had USA, and then after that we go to Okayama, and we just had Okayama, which is just a little bit annoying.
Yeah, that one's interesting. That's something we will absolutely be discussing over the next couple of weeks here. But Carter, thank you very much for checking in with us here. And before we let you go, make sure you do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for coming back for season 2 of 2023, and thanks to everybody who chipped in to get the broadcast going, reaching the goal. And well, thanks to Team Watson Racing again. I guess I haven't got their livery on the side of my car just yet. I don't know if I'm gonna have to swap them out or make a new space, but we'll get that on the car somehow. So yeah, thanks to them. Thanks to you guys for coming back and putting on the broadcast, and have a good night.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And yeah, there you go, boys. Our first night of, well, doing things in the correct batting order here, I guess you would say. The US F2000's coming after the Indy Pro 2000 race. And man, I'll tell you what, James, we got kind of the show we figured we would get here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. I guess James isn't here. What do you think, Bizzle?
I'm back.
Oh,
Mike
there he
Hughes.
is.
Yeah, it was another kind of counter punch race that we saw earlier. You know, Nick Daly just kind of keeping with them, hoping he would make a mistake, but Carter was able to stay strong and stay on it.
Yeah, and Patrick, that really kind of bodes well for the rest of the season. As Carter mentioned, next week we go to Oval Week. With it only running 2 ovals, I almost wish they would do it like weeks 3 and 10, maybe. Kind of put the ovals a little bit more towards the middle of the schedule. But Oval Week, USA International, follow that up with Okayama, Road America, and then the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. I cannot wait for week 5 to see these guys rip around Brands Hatch.
Yeah, USA International is going to be a fantastic race for these cars. It's always fun in the PM18s, but in the USF cars, it's just going to be a riot. That track is damn near flat out in these things. You kind of just jam on the brakes real quick, get the car to turn, and smack the gas again. It's like a bigger Martinsville, and that's actually all that track is. And Brands Hatch, while I was over at Ireland, I saw the greatest thing at Brands Hatch, and it will forever make me a fan. On the TV, just over the airwaves, not on cable or anything over there, I'm sure you needed a TV license, was legend cars, like the US legend cars. But they run them on road courses over there in Europe. They ship them over there, run them on road courses. They had them at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit. And it wasn't just 10 or 15 of them. Apparently, they're huge over there. There were 45 cars on that track. It was incredible. So, anything at Brands Hatch anymore, I am just all for, because holy crap, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That sounds like a possible Fastmasters idea, is put everybody in Legends cars. Because that wouldn't be an abject dumpster fire. But everything Fastmasters is a dumpster fire. We'll see. We'll put you to work cutting some Fastmasters highlights together for the week. But with that, it's time for us to get on out of here because we got a big day tomorrow. The Camel GT Happy Hour coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Celebrating St. Paddy's Day with Camel GT, talking real-world racing. IMSA and WEC Super Show weekend at Sebring. Yes, more of those, please. We need the WEC cars in the 24 Hours of Daytona. That would be cool, too. But, man, that one's going to be good. Talking NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, and obviously a ton of sports cars while that race is going on. You don't want to miss it. We got to go get ready for that show. For everybody here that makes these shows happen on the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham, and for Patrick Byrne and James Watson, we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.